Okay, we will blow and go on some things, and we're going to sit with some things and go deep, but we'll share this, what to do with the annual fund. Typically in this day and time, it seems to me that with our campaigns, you keep with the annual giving. You keep with the annual fund. You don't subsume it, but you're asking for a capital campaign gift over and above what you give to the annual giving. And to me, annual giving is part of your life cycle, and it's like breathing, and you don't want to interrupt that. And I would not want to get rid of the annual giving and let people keep with that life-giving rhythm and put the capital campaign on top of it. Now, a lot of times there will be a comprehensive campaign, and you'll throw the annual giving in, and you'll have a $10 million capital campaign over 5 years, and then you'll have annual giving for $300,000, let's just say, Brandy, for you. I think that was at or about. And what they would say is just, okay, 5 years, $300,000, 1.5. But what that does is that, you know, in annual giving, what you want to do is you want to increase every year to year to year. So what you're going to want to do is not just have 300,000 times 5 is 1.5. You're going to want to build in escalation in that math, so that you know, you can invite your donor, annual giving donors, to upgrade year A, year B, year C. You're still going to want to have annual giving upgrades. Any other thing that comes to mind about annual giving?
Other than sometimes your prospects are a little bit different. I think we can mention that later. Your annual giving with your capital campaign.
Adding a legacy gift component, won't belabor this, but what we are doing now is we are using the opportunity of a capital campaign, and that's where you raise gifts and pledges, total over 5 years, toward a kind of building project, something like that. But in the recession, we bumped into a lot of people who would say, I know you, I love you, we would want to give to you, but our portfolio has been hit, we can't give to you. The steering committee member volunteers would come back dejected, saying, this is what we heard, how do you want us to respond to that? And so we trained them to say, we hear you, you know us, you love us, you would want to give to us, but you can't give to us right now in the form of a gift and pledge because your portfolio has been hit. Is there any way we can use the context of our campaign and the context of this conversation and invite you to support our organization through a gift that won't cost you anything at all? Will you please leave a legacy? Would you leave us in your will? And we were shocked at the response. We recovered a lot of identified expectancies. Now, an identified expectancy, you can't take it to the bank. You know, a pledge is by definition an asset of the organization. An expectancy, because it's revocable, you know, you can't take, you know, the accountants won't count that as a receipt. But we did have identified expectancies, so we totaled our gifts and pledges to the capital campaign, and we also reported through this campaign, we also identified 20 expectancies and confirmed another 40.
Wow.
And so it was just amazing, and you know, we added on this legacy gift component. Now, we even kept with that second ask, even when they gave a gift or pledge. They didn't have to swing and miss and say, you know, I can't give to you. A lot of times, even when they gave a gift or pledge, we would also use that same conversation, that same solicitation to say, over and above, will you take the time and leave us in your will? In most cases, or at least for the 20 that we got, they were saying, listen, I've been thinking about that anyway, I just haven't really taken the time to do it, and sure, I'll use the occasion and put you into it. So, as in 30 years ago, there was some confusion in our donor constituencies where you had to explain the difference between annual giving and capital giving. We do not, what we're finding is that, within the life of nonprofits, that distinction has been clarified in the mind of most donors, and now we're able to move that distinction, and people even comprehend the distinction of difference between a gift and pledge for a capital campaign, and try to identify expectancies for legacy gifts. We have moved as a country and as a nonprofit sector in that time, and that's all to the good. Okay?
Something you said made me realize that the feasibility study questionnaire that I was reading, this is the Mill questionnaire, because we do ask in the in-person interviews, have you left a legacy gift? And yes or no, and if not, would you be inclined to do so? So that's another question that we do ask that I didn't mention earlier.
We're smoking out and mining for these legacy gifts as early as the feasibility study. Yeah. If you are looking at your case statement and you are testing it to see if everything is there we need, ask yourself, does this case statement answer who, what, when, where, why, how, and how much? And if it doesn't answer all those questions, you're leaving something out, okay? So ask yourself that question. And the other thing that I'll mention is, please, whoever is writing, you have to have an editor. And making sure you just eliminate the stupid mistakes, and making sure that subjects and predicates agree. And I just feel apoplectic when I see stupid typos, and and to have something that's where things aren't right. Okay, here's the campaign plan in a nutshell. You raise money from the inside out and the top down. Who are the ultimate insiders? The board, your staff, your teachers, your alums, parents, inside out. Top down, you're going to that 20% of the people who give 80% of the money, and then you'll go wide after you get, or go public after you raise about 70% out of about something like that.
And that top 20% too, you gotta remember, hopefully these are a lot of the people that we interviewed in the study. So they're more prepared, more on the inside of what's happening, and those are gonna be bigger gifts, but probably easier gifts in a sense, just because you've already paved the way.
Campaigns are very sequential. You do A before B, you gotta do A and B before C. There's a sequence to all of that. And on
Page 42/40.
40. Now, this is a summary report, and I like these because at a glance you can really kind of sense the health of your organization. Now, you have various drives within a campaign. Within a campaign, you have a board drive, a steering committee drive, staff drive, lead gift, major gift, Broadway, corporation, foundation, and other. Okay? And let's just say you have 10 members on your board, so you have 10 prospects, and then you look to see how many gifts you have. If you have 2 gifts of the 10, that's 20%. And then you go, again, that's this inside out, board, steering committee, staff. Lead gift, major gift, broad base, top down. And now I want to report to you what is an R&R. An R&R is something that is reported, not received. It is a verbal commitment. and you want to register that R&R, that reported not received gift, that verbal commitment. Because what we found is if you don't track it, you may forget about it. And a R&R, a verbal commitment, but what that means is that's a gimme putt, moving a verbal commitment to a gift or pledge, okay? And you just need to track those to make sure you don't forget those, okay? And it may be somebody says, listen, I'm going to give you $1 million, but I really need to do a little bit of talking with my broker and my financial planner before I sign anything, but I'm going to put that down as a verbal commitment, just so I won't forget it. Okay.
How can you forget $1 million?
Yeah, just, they're just so many.
I know.
And then we have a gift and a pledge. A gift is, okay, I write you a $10,000 check, $10,000 check. And, or a pledge is, I'm going to pledge $100,000 total over 5 years. We count the money, we count the pledges. A pledge is an asset, the money is an asset, and we're pushing that to our campaign goal. What else was I going to say about the verbal commitment? Okay, let's ask it. Now, I know everybody else knows, but is a pledge legally binding?
I'm looking at you too.
Like,
We already talked about it.
Yeah. Is a
They don't-
pledge?
They don't have to pay, but it's when it's like, we
We all
want
say
it to
we-
be
yeah.
budgeting
Yeah.
on this money. This
Yeah.
is what when you say you're gonna give it,
Yeah,
we make
yeah. A pledge is by definition legally binding. Yeah, it is a contract. It's kind of treated as a contract. And it may be that somebody goes through a very hard time and there's some legitimate reasons why they can't do it. And they can be, you know, released or in another instance can be written off as a bad debt or something like that. But let's look at it another way. A board is there to protect the assets of the organization. A pledge is an asset of the organization. It's bookable by the accountants as an asset. And a board cannot be too willy-nilly and too cavalier about letting assets go. And I was speaking yesterday about the classic case of a wealthy man who gave $100 million to his alma mater. I think it was in California. And, you know, everything was going well until he died. And his estate, the money was given to the trophy wife who didn't go with him to the school. In fact, she probably wasn't even born yet. So anyway, the wife said, I don't have to pay this. And then the California system sued the estate because to say, you know, that pledge is legally binding and we have placed detrimental reliance on that pledge. They took that pledge, that asset, and it was the basis for a loan for a construction project that was also underway. And so because there was detrimental reliance, the court ruled in favor of the university. But the basis was that pledge is a legal commitment. And you know, this is a two-edged sword, and of course, we really never wanted out that our organization went after a donor. You never want that. But sometimes we get in these situations where our lawyers and accountants would say, you know, you're really jeopardizing your organization and you're kind of playing loose with your fiduciary responsibilities if you don't meet this problem head on. So this just gives you a little sense of the dynamics.